This is Alex Fishbein back again for another Fishes Friday rant. And we got a little bit of a late night episode going on right now. But this week I want to talk a little bit about, the former NBA legends, talking about the Warriors and all the superstars again. And I also want to talk about the rookie class a little bit. And I also want to talk about Carmelo's comments on him, LeBron, Chris Paul, and Dwayne Wade. So, first things first, this whole Oscar Robertson saying, Curry wouldn't be able to do this kind of thing back then because it was more physical game. The game today is all about threes, and then everyone else was chiming in. Steven Jackson said that his Warriors team could have beat this Warriors team. It's all just dumb. Like, seriously, just stupid. I understand that a lot of them, especially the legends, they're going to sit there and say, like, oh, of course my team was better. Of course my era was better. I played in it. I was one of the best in it. So, obviously, they're not going to sit there and, give up and say that, oh, this era is better than my era, and these guys are better than me and the superstars that played around me. But there comes a point in time where you just have to shut up. You just have to stop. I understand that maybe you don't want to concede that this year's Warriors may be able to beat your team. But in the grand scheme of things, comparing eras is difficult. You have this era of basketball where everyone is concerned with the three-pointer. It's moving to stretch fours and even stretch fives that can hit a three-point shot. And back then in the 80s and even the 90s, the three-point shot wasn't really that big of a deal. It wasn't that popular. People weren't really utilizing it. And they were still getting a ton of points. Of course, now we look at guys back then and they're like, oh, they weren't that efficient. They were taking these deep twos. They were taking a lot more shots. But yeah, when you're in an era where you're not really using the three-point shot, or in earlier terms, they didn't have a three-point shot, they're obviously going to take more shots to get up to the same point totals that guys have now. Just like, off the top of my head, there's guys like Allen Iverson, who wasn't a huge three-point shooter, still made them at a decent clip, but wasn't a huge three-point shooter, so he was doing more of the mid-range shots. He was doing more of very, very tough layups around all the big men. And yeah, for a guy who carries the load of his team and takes all those shots, he's going to look inefficient. And a lot of those kind of superstar guys, earlier than Iverson even, had to do that same kind of thing. They had to carry the bulk of the team. They had to take the majority of the shots. They were the majority of the offense. And without a three-point shot, they're going to take other, maybe less efficient shots. So that whole thing is a reality. It's okay. They might not be as efficient. Their PER might not be as high. But like a lot of people have been talking about, also, all of basketball is not stat driven. There's a lot of other things to basketball that people are, especially these days, are neglecting. There's so many more elements beyond the stats. There's so many mental things, and there's so many chemistry things that help allow teams to play better, to do better, to win their championships, whatever it may be. You have, even if you just look at this past NBA Finals, you have a team like the Warriors who have great team chemistry, who trust each other, who spread the ball around and play great team ball, against a team like the Cavs who are more superstar driven. They're more that one guy, two guys, whatever, that carry the bulk of the entire team, and they end up losing. But there are times where teams might win with that sort of dynamic, but at the same time, there's just a lot of things that are used now, that are done now, that weren't back in the day. And so when all of these guys just keep coming up and keep throwing out all this crap about, oh, the Warriors these days can't do this, they can't do that, they're not going to be the best team ever, these other guys can't do this, can't do that, they're not the best ever, whatever. It's just honestly just gets all annoying. Like, why can't why can't we all just appreciate what the team is doing? Why can't we appreciate what Steph Curry's doing, what the Warriors are doing? Why can't we appreciate what Durant and Westbrook are doing, what LeBron is doing? All of these guys are playing some great basketball. There's some great competition going on. Sure, Golden State has been demolishing most of the competition, but the games against Oklahoma City have been pretty close and they've been very interesting. And you still have games like Oklahoma City versus San Antonio that's very interesting. Games like Cleveland versus the Clippers, or Cleveland versus the Spurs, or Oklahoma City and the Clippers, or Oklahoma City and the Cavs. There's so many good games to watch. There's so many good superstars, or I guess good superstars kind of redundant, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of good players. There's a lot of great players. There's a lot of superstar level players that are just fun to watch and fun to see how they go about in a game and play. That why do they have to be compared to the other eras? We're like, okay, I understand there's always the talk about top 50 all time, whatever, but like, as we're watching the game, why when someone watches one game of LeBron do we have to say, oh, but Michael Jordan's better, or oh, but he's better than Michael Jordan? Why do you have to do that? It's one game, we're watching him play, where he is one of the all-time greats. I'm not even giving him a rank. He's just obviously one of the all-time greats. And so, in that case, why not watch and appreciate that? I understand if you might be like a rival team fan and be like, oh, screw LeBron, I want my team to win. I understand that, but you still can't deny the guy's talent. You still can't deny that he is an all-time great. And you might as well, like, you're living in the era that he's playing and you get to watch him play. So why not appreciate that? Instead of always comparing people, instead of saying like, oh, I don't think Steph Curry can keep this up. Okay, he might not be able to, but why don't you appreciate it while he's still doing it? It doesn't make any sense to me that we have to keep comparing all of this stuff and we have to keep talking about it over and over and over again. It's just getting dumb. That's really all it comes down to. Anyway, onto the rookies. There's a lot of good rookie play going on so far. I mean, we have the usual suspects in Karl-Anthony Towns, Okafor, and Porzingis. We're now seeing the rising play of Devin Booker. We're seeing the rising play of D'Angelo Russell. We're also, still seeing flashes of stuff from like Mario Hezonja, and different guys like that. And this rookie class is honestly really fun to watch as well. When you look at Karl-Anthony Towns, you're looking at a potential superstar right there. And that should be very promising. And I remember I was listening to Jalen and Jacoby, and they had a question on, could this 2015 draft class be considered as one of the best draft classes of all time, up with, the 2003s, the 96s, all that kind of stuff. And really, I agree with what they said, in that you have to base the draft class off of how many Hall of Famers they have. Because, you look at other ones, like you got LeBron, Melo, Wade, and Chris Paul. Those guys are all going to be Hall of Famers. You got like Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, all of those guys. They're all going to be Hall of Famers. So this is part of the reason why we say that those draft classes are that good, is because all of those guys are going to be Hall of Famers. And when you look at this one, you look at a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, I could see him being a Hall of Famer. Based off of what I've seen from just his rookie year, I could see him being a Hall of Famer, but there's still a lot of question marks. While Okafor has had a pretty good offensive game, like in his repertoire, there are still huge question marks on his defense, rebounding, and other things among that. We haven't seen D'Angelo Russell all that much because of the weird coaching from Byron Scott, talking about, I don't think he's ready, I don't think he can play this amount of minutes, blah, blah, blah. So we haven't really seen much of him. You got Porzingis, who is a very promising player as well, but I wouldn't say just from watching him right now that he would be on a Hall of Fame level. So obviously there's plenty of time to wait and see how all of these guys grow and come together with their different types of games. But as of right now, this does look to be a really good draft class. And if they keep growing into their potential that we think that they have, this very well could be one of the best draft classes we've seen. I'm not saying the best, I'm just saying one of the best. And honestly, that is a really promising thing, especially with guys like that from that 03 draft class that are getting towards the later stages of their career. Once they start hitting their downswing, at least there are these crop of younger guys that are coming up in to take those kind of spots. Speaking of the 2003 draft class, I just want to talk about this real quick because Carmelo had a comment on LeBron, Chris Paul, and Wade, and he was like, quote, "I don't think envy is the right word. I do look at my peers and say, damn, what am I doing wrong?" End quote. I mean, it's just kind of funny that kind of thing pops up because I'm pretty sure a ton of fans can say what you've been doing wrong, Carmelo. I'm pretty sure that everyone will be like, well, you had the chance to go to championship contending teams in the off season, but you chose to just take the money and stay in New York and work on this little business venture side job that you have outside of the game. And so you're on a team that really doesn't look to be a championship contender anytime soon. There's still a lot of question marks around that team. There's still a lot of pieces they need to add. There's a lot of things they need to do to the bench, to even to the starting five. So, I mean, we can all say that, you just haven't really made a good decision team-wise, just for one. And two, you also need to learn to play better with others. I mean, like, you had a team with Allen Iverson, and sure, we can put some of that blame on Allen Iverson, who was never really a big proponent to playing with other big-time scorers or volume shooters, but he still had some quality teammates in Denver, and even like his first year in New York when they were a pretty good team heading into the playoffs. So he's had chances, but like I said, there's just still a lot of his game that isn't the same in LeBron, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade. So I'm pretty sure a lot of us can tell you what's going wrong. Just saying. Well, that's it for me, everybody. Thank you for listening to another episode of Fish's Friday Rant. I will be up with a Atlantic Files either late tonight or early tomorrow. It'll be recorded soon. I'm just not sure when I'm going to release it. So that will be coming up very soon. So be on the lookout for that. Definitely check out our website, basketball-society.com, and check us out on Twitter at @bballsociety_. I am at thatkidfish, Fisch. If you have any questions for me, for the Fish's Friday Rant, for anything, hit me, either me or the Basketball Society account up on Twitter, and I'll be glad to answer any questions on here. And I'll give you credit for your name, put your tweet up on the screen, everything. So definitely hit me up with those, and I will see you guys soon for Atlantic Files and next week for a Fish's Friday Rant. Peace.